Kenny Loggett singing "I'm Alright." Technically, you could say the theme from Caddyshack, if you will. It's just a damn good song. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. This is Dylan Lang. It is episode 395. News week of the weird and unusual type. This was a extremely bizarre news week, and we're going to cover most of the stuff that occurred this week. Not all weird and unusual, but there's some weird and unusual stuff and some crazy stuff and some depressing stuff and some silly stuff and all kinds of stuff. And that's sort of like the epitome of what my show is. For those who might not know, my show basically is I take all the news that I see over the week from Facebook and stuff like that are a little crazy and put it on together, and I do a little show where I bring that to you. Obviously, you might have already seen a lot of this news stuff, or maybe this is all new to you type of stuff. Maybe you're so not aware of other things as well because of your other interests and stuff like that. That's fine, but that's why I'm here for. But episode 395 is only 5 episodes away from 400, which lays that in. Let's see. This is the last weekend of March. So let's see. That lays in early May. Looks like episode 500 will be, not 500, 400. Get a little ahead of myself. 400 will be rolling through there. If I keep things going as they are, I should. Next weekend, well, I should paraphrase by saying today is Palm Sunday, which is the beginning of Holy Week for Catholics, culminating in Easter Sunday, which is 1 week from today. Obviously, I will probably not be doing a show on Easter Sunday, potentially maybe doing a show on Easter Saturday, potentially doing one on Good Friday, depending on scheduling and planning, stuff like that, because this is a 4-day work week for me. That's great. We always have off Good Friday, so I have a nice 3-day weekend coming up this weekend, which is excellent. My kids are on spring break right now, so that's good for them. They're off this whole week and into next week, and they have off Easter Monday, and then they go back to school on Tuesday, the 6th of April. So yes, we are entering the end game here for March. It's March 28th, 2021. So so there's 31 days. So we got 3 days left in March, and then we go into April. A lot of interesting stuff coming up and going on, but we've had lots of death with Easter. This is coming out a little too late, I believe, but Pepsi has a new release that's connected to Easter. Human penises. That's all I'm going to say about that. The huge cargo ship, Falcon and Winter Soldier, other Marvel stuff, a lot of DC stuff, bubble candles. The coldest temperature ever recorded has been finally discovered. An Enchanted sequel. Animals like a beaver on the Metro. Crocodiles and sharks teaming up. Bizarre movies. A lot of death, a lot of interesting death. George R.R. Martin, Jeff Goldblum, Bindi Irwin, Angry Orchard, Cream Eggs, Beer Pong, Pierce Brosnan, Dirty Dancing. I have a lot of stuff today. Spring is Snivy. Snivy, yes. Snivy, Fortnite. Stupid people. What else we got? Habanero Tostitos, UFOs, Quentin Tarantino. What else do we got going on here? Shazam casts a badass for their villain. Some casting changes. Changes for Black Widow, and an interesting take that Disney's doing. Disneyland could be expanding to catch up with Disney World, but we'll cover all that in a little bit. So we're here to begin this week with why not? I mean, it's Sunday, so Sunday morning at 12:39. I really can't wait until the evening or whatever, so I may as well just jump right in there, because this is news week of the weird and unusual type. Human penises are shrinking due to pollution, scientists say. I don't know if that is people who are being born, or I also heard that there's lower sperm counts being recorded as well. I wouldn't know. I'm way past all that stuff right now. But it's it's an interesting theory, as I'm not quite sure how pollution, I guess maybe when you're breathing in the pollution, it creates bad vibes in your body, which helps, create stuff like that. And also the fact that I think this also might be, we know that the younger generation right now is refusing to get married and have kids because they feel that they are suffering from crushing debt, and they don't want to bring kids into a world with climate change and the way the world is, and more proof that the world is going to shit happened this week as well. I might cover some of them, but not entirely all, because that gets into a bit more political arena. I'm going to get into a little bit, but I don't like to get into much political arenas here that way. But that could possibly be why that's happening. But yeah, it just seemed like a rather odd statement to make at the beginning of this week. I guess it's a warning or whatever, but yeah, so I guess maybe you could blame pollution, or you could just blame that, your body just knows that a lot of people are not interested in having kids, so you have the lower sperm rate, because why do you need a bigger sperm rate? Why do we need to create more if they're not going to have kids? It's similar to somehow it seems odd that after a giant world war with multiple deaths from males particularly, that the boy population and new babies skyrockets. Now you could add that as a coincidence, or you can add that as what do you call it, where you die in reincarnation. So I don't know. So just kind of a interesting aspect to look into about that. Of course, I'm not having any of those problems, but that's besides the point. This was the beginning. This story I'm about ready to talk about was the beginning of a weird news week on Thursday. Actually, it wasn't the beginning, but it was a weird news day on Thursday. Just one of the weirdest. Just all kinds of just stuff came at us on Thursday, and Thursday was, I think, probably the biggest day for news and stuff like that. A lot of this came out during that time, and so it was the biggest news day of the week, and this led it off. Easter, as I said, is next Sunday, 7 days away. Easter Bunny is getting ready. The eggs are getting dyed. Candy is getting bought. Toys are being built or bought on Amazon and sent to Easter Island, where the Easter Bunny is putting it into the Easter baskets for various kids. If you don't believe me, watch the movie Hop, which is a pretty good, detailing of what happens with the Easter Bunny on Easter Island. So it's pretty good. But, it just seems rather odd that they waited to this point 1 week ahead of time. And I haven't even seen it in stores, as much as I haven't seen any of the other stuff they've done this season. But Pepsi, the people who made the apple pie soda, which I didn't get a chance to try, which I would love to try, but never got around to it because you could only get it if you showed them of your bad cooking. And then the hot chocolate and marshmallow Pepsi soda. Didn't see that anywhere. To me, it just seemed like it was just, hey, we're going to do this and not release it. It was just a way to tell. But I didn't see any of it, so I haven't tried any of those. And this be just another thing, because again, I have not seen it, and it's a week to Easter, and you'd think I'd see it. Now maybe I need to go to a Walmart or a Target to do this, but Pepsi is releasing, in partnership with Marshmallow Peeps, the official candy of Easter, marshmallow flavored soda in 3 distinct colored cans: the neon blue, neon yellow, and neon orange, I guess, or blue, whatever the 3 main colors are for Peeps during this time of the year. They're releasing a marshmallow flavored Pepsi soda. And look, I know it sounds disgusting. I know all those sound disgusting, but to me, it sounds like an interesting take. Now, I might not like it. As I said, when they did their cinnamon Pepsi, I hated their cinnamon Pepsi because it was just it wasn't the right type of flavor for me. Whereas the cinnamon Coke actually was a lesser problem. But Pepsi will be having marshmallow soda in accordance with Peeps in cans, and they're in packs of 3, using as I said, the pink, the blues, and the yellow, I think, neon colors that the Peeps are marshmallow soda. People are saying, why don't they call it Peepsy, which I think is kind of funny, but yeah. So, the Coke coffee I've been finding everywhere, and I'm loving it. Though I may have to stop buying Coke products for a while till that whole situation. I may have to stop buying Coke products for a while till that whole situation in Georgia developed. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But yeah, Pepsi soda. Be on the lookout for it. If you spot it anywhere, let me know. Put it in the comments. Send it to my Twitter at Holidill, HOLIDILL, or go to Facebook and type in Dylan A. Lang, and you should be able to find me on there. Let me know where you find these. Now, on Friday, I do have to do some last-minute shopping for Easter to help assist the Easter Bunny. And I might check out the Walmarts and Targets to see if I can see them there, because I would love to buy some of that. So let's find out. This is another big story that happened on Thursday, I believe, which affects me. Not affects me, but I have a connection to this massive story. Back in, let me see if I can find the date again. I think it was 2002. I quit my job at Rainforest Cafe and started working full-time at Diamond Comic Distributors, which at the time was the only distributor of comic books in the world. It's run by Steve Jeppy, who is a Maryland native. It was in a office building you could see from I-83, all glass building. We were Diamond had the basement and levels 3 and 4, which level 3 was the main work area for the managers and the big bosses, and Steve's office was in level 3, I believe. And then level 4 was a smaller office, but also housed his mini museum he had there, which was always really cool to see as well. So I worked there from 2003 to 2006, or 2002, excuse me, 2002 to 2006. And I enjoyed my time at Diamond. I left on good terms. It's a customer service job, and it got to be a little stressful. I was hired as a customer service rep for out west, West Coast. I had Los Angeles. I had Sacramento. I had the whole state of Alaska and other periodic comic shops amongst the big California, northern to mid California. I didn't have any really southern California ones. And then I picked up various ones here and there, some from Seattle, some from the Midwest as well, which is not unusual, where, every area is given a customer service rep, and multiple ones in some cases, and they take over certain areas. Like Chicago might have one person that does all the shops in Chicago, and they might do other stuff, but then there might be somebody else who has like Kansas City and stuff like that. So they all, but there are sometimes where if they're too busy, or the retailer doesn't like their customer service rep, or doesn't believe their customer service rep ever responds to them, or is just too hurried and wants to go and get someone that they know will get them right away, they will sometimes cling on to you. So I got a bunch of those, as I said, Seattle one, I think a couple in the mountain area, stuff like that. So I had probably about 200 some accounts, which sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, because a lot of them were small ones that really didn't do anything. I had a handful of ones that ordered a lot of stuff all the time, but it was really cool seeing I had the entire state of Alaska, and I had Los Angeles, which is just a big deal also, and I had Sacramento, which is the capital of California. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I enjoyed it, met some really cool people, met some real assholes. It was a customer service job. So since it was West Coast, my shift was 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., which this was early on in my life with my wife. We got engaged in 2002, got married in 2003, bought this house in 2004, had a kid in 2006. So during that time stretch from 2002 to 2006, I got engaged to my girlfriend, got married to my girlfriend, bought a house with my wife, and had our first child. Well, basically, I left before Thanksgiving break. My last day of work was Wednesday before Thanksgiving break at Diamond, and then I worked another place for a while. My daughter came in early December, so I had a big connection with that, and met some really cool people that I still follow on Facebook and stuff like that. And I wasn't always customer service rep. I did that job for a long time. Then for about 9 months, I was a brand manager, which was an even harder job because I thought, okay, I get away from customers. Instead, you have to deal with retailers, not really, with creators and stuff like that, and they could be just as bad. And plus, there were other things that I just wasn't very good at. So it stressed me out to no end. So I ended up leaving soon after that and get an easier job, which I only stayed at for like 4 months and then got fired. And then got this job at Hanover, which I've been at now for 14 years. So that's the way it is. But anyway, regardless, but Diamond kept going. And then last year, during the COVID stuff, when they shut down everything, and they decided to go with a different person because they wanted to, since Diamond was shut down during COVID, they decided to go with a different distributor, despite the fact that it was still not a great time to do that. And a lot of stores had to send them around and people could order them online and come pick them up, stuff like that. But they decided they wanted to keep doing that. And that's really annoying. So they thought that they would be able to do that. So they have now switched to a different distributorship. And so it's like, okay, that's all right. We'll be okay once we're getting back to normal. Things are getting back on schedule. We're okay. And then Marvel drops a bombshell this week that they are going to get their comics and stuff distributed through Penguin Books, which is one of the biggest booksellers in the country. And they are going to get their stuff distributed through them, which is crazy. But that's what it is. So now Diamond has lost their big two, Marvel and DC. So what does that mean? That means basically that, first of all, comic book stores are now going to have to deal with 3 different distributorships, 3 different levels of, how they're going to pay their bills, 3 different ways of having to order separate things, 3 different delivery schedules. And to me, it sounds like kind of a pain in the ass. And I know a lot of people believe monopolies are a bad deal, and a lot of people don't like Steve Jeppy or Diamond for whatever reason. But it was a good system for the most part. Yes, you had issues. Yes, there were problems. Yes, but what do you expect from stuff like that? Now you have 3 distinct distributors you have to deal with, which I guess a lot of places deal with multiple distributors, but still it's kind of annoying, having to have different levels and stuff like that. So that sort of causes Diamond now, that they're going to have to cut jobs. They're going to have to cut warehouse jobs. They may have to close down a warehouse because they're not going to have the Marvel and DC product rolling through. The other comics are not going to make up for all the space that they have or all the employees that they have in those places. But Marvel tried to self-distribute back in the late 90s, and that turned into a major disaster for them. But I think that being hooked up with Penguin Books is something completely different. They are a known distributor of good books. They distribute worldwide, and they don't seem to have any issues. So we'll see how this happens. But I don't know how it's going to affect comic book stores in general. I know it's affecting Diamond, as I said, by losing jobs and losing warehouse space and stuff like that, and it's losing some clout in the industry. So we'll see what happens. This week also consisted of my sister's birthday. It was yesterday, so she is a teacher also. She's on her spring break. She's got a well-deserved vacation coming up. She's visiting her sons who live in Virginia this weekend, and then they're going to stay down there. Her and her husband are going to stay down there for a few extra days just for vacation's sake. I sent her a couple movies, a book, and a game. So I hope she enjoys that. Yes, I know. I'm showing it. I don't want to fix the problems right now. I just want my show to go without any issues, even though it's not happening right now. I have to believe it's because the kids are all using their devices as well. So anyway, going on. The Orioles, my baseball team, has their opening day next Thursday. April 1st is opening day for baseball in general. The Orioles are starting the season on the road. They go to Boston and one other place, I think, before they're back home next Thursday, the 8th of April, for their home opener. So baseball is doing a full season this year, unlike last year where they did a truncated season. They're doing a full season now. They had a full spring training, so they're ready for a full season now. So we'll see how this goes. It's going to be hard for the pitchers because pitchers didn't pitch as much last year as they're going to have to this year. So a lot of people are thinking that instead of 5-man rotations, baseball's going to go to 6-man rotations, or teams depend the teams. It's up to each individual team and their coach. But the Orioles are contemplating doing a 6-man rotation, which actually makes a lot of sense. So because you don't want to overtax your pitchers, your bullpen and stuff like that. So interesting stuff about that. Another big story for this week was a huge cargo ship has run aground in the Suez Canal, blocking all the traffic that goes through there. I think I read somewhere that the blockage is causing $500 million worth of loss every hour. $9.8 billion worth of revenue or whatever are being held up right now in the Suez Canal as they try to dig out this humongous freight boat that is just stuck, and it's could cause some shortages down the line of certain things again, depending on what's going through the Suez Canal. Once you get through the Suez Canal, you got to get distributed to everything else. So expect some delays. This is, as long as this keeps stretching, we'll see what happens. But boat has been stuck now for at least 3 days, I think. They've been talking about it at least for 3 days, 3 to 4 days. So it's not an easy fix to go out and do that. So that's kind of interesting. At the same time, in a sort of a ironic parallel, and I don't even know how this happened, a boat, regular small shipping boating boat type of thing, fishing boat sort of boat, fell onto a Florida highway and blocked traffic, similar to how the freight ship is blocked from Suez Canal. Now, the difference is that this fishing boat is way smaller and way less filled to the gills with stuff and weighs a whole ton than a giant. It was easily removed after a few hours, but still a parallel that happened pretty much similar almost to the day of the event with the huge cargo ship. Talked about Holy Week this week. Today is Palm Sunday. Hopefully next year I'll be able to go. To Palm Sunday Mass and go this week because I'm still hesitant about Mass in the age of COVID. But next year, hopefully with everybody being vaccinated, stuff like that, it'll be a lot easier to do. But Sunday Mass is always an interesting one for Catholics. It starts off really as a regular Mass, but then basically they read the entirety of the Passion of the Christ, which is the entire story of the crucifixion of Christ a week before Easter. And then it ends with the lights going out and drum beats as the priests leave in silence, no singing, and these drum beats. And it is one of the most chilling, in a good way, times for the Catholic Church is the Palm Sunday Mass. Get out of my screen here. Oh well, I'm just blocking my face. You guys can't see this anyway, so I'm just going to keep going right now. I just can't see my face. Hopefully it says Apple software updates, and it's not letting me X them out. There we go, X something out. Hopefully that'll cause it to go away. If not, I'll just be talking this way where you can't see myself. So then, it's there we go, it's gone. So then it's Easter. So then we have just minimal Mass Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's quiet time. Things are building to a crescendo here. Thursday is Maundy Thursday, which is the Last Supper, where they have the Last Supper that leads to Jesus being arrested. I think his arrival in Jerusalem, I think, was today, Palm Sunday, and so he caused all kinds of havoc the next 3 days. And then he gets betrayed by Judas, which I have a whole other theory about, which I've talked about on previous Palm Sunday episodes. I'm not going to rehash it here. But just real quick, I'll minimize it for you guys. Judas was actually set up to be the traitor by Jesus, because Judas was the best follower of Jesus and was the only one that he could count on to actually do what needed to be done, which was to betray him and get him to his final destination, which was he needed to be crucified on the cross so that he could be risen in 3 days, to prove his divination. And he knew that none of his other apostles would be able to do this task. But he believed Judas, who was his personal, I think was his favorite and was the most loyal to him. He said he's the one that has to do it because he will do it no matter what. It's similar to, if you want to look at it from another aspect, how Superman trusts Batman with kryptonite, knowing full well that Batman would be the only hero who would not hesitate to use kryptonite to possibly kill Superman if Superman went crazy, went mad, threatened the universe, the world, whatever. Batman would be the only one who would have the balls to go, you know what, Superman? F you, and you're dead, using the kryptonite. Whereas the others would be like, no, we got to find a way. We can save him. We can bring him back. And then they get killed. And they've just made things a whole lot worse. No, Batman is the only one that has the guts to go up to Superman and say, hey, man, come on down here. I got something for you. And Superman's like, what do you want? And I'll say this, and then he's dead. So, it's sort of similar to that, is that I believe that Jesus believed that Judas was the only one who would have been capable of being able to turn in Jesus to get crucified and suffer this gruesome fate so that he could be risen in 3 days to prove his divination, because he knew that Judas truly believed in him as being the Messiah, whereas the others, while they claimed to believe in him, they had their doubts about him. And they did not believe that that's what needed to be, whereas Judas was the one that said, in order to get to this point, Jesus' thought process was that in order for me to get to this point where I need to go, the one guy that can get me to where I need to go would be Judas, because he is such an ardent follower of mine and is the one that has, the best chance of it, something like that. So that's what's going on. So then Friday's Good Friday, where Jesus was crucified on the cross and he dies and gets buried. Then Easter Saturday is like a total silence in the Catholic Church. The churches are closed. You cannot go in the churches. The body of Christ candle, when the body of Christ is in the little holding spot, it's always in the candle, and the candle's lit, that it's there. The candle's out, and that is removed from that area. And then Saturday night, midnight mass usually is when everything goes, dramatic and fantastic. It's a whole new year. Glory to God in the highest. Everything gets cheerful because Jesus is risen, proof that he's divination. So that's what Easter is all about. So a pretty interesting week for Catholics rolling up here. Obviously, it's still the second year in a row where things are a little in the air about things due to COVID and stuff like that. But hopefully by this time next year, actually, I don't know when Easter is next year. Hopefully it's not going to be early, because I hate when Easter is early. Let's find out. When is Easter 2022? Oh, shit, it's late, April 17th. So Easter's going to be late next year. I hate when it's late. I hate when it's early, and I hate when it's late. The best time frame is this 4th to 11th period, I guess. The period anywhere between that time, 4th and the 11th, is the best time, in my opinion, for Easter. But the interesting news about that is if it's early, it might also fall on my sister's birthday sometimes, which is kind of interesting to have. And it has multiple times. Same with this year. My birthday falls on Father's Day. And surprisingly enough, even though it's not a leap year, because summer is the summer solstice is so late, or you could technically say it's early this year, the summer solstice is like at 11 o'clock at night on my birthday. So my birthday is still going to be technically the first day of summer, even though it's going to be like an hour before the 21st of June. So interesting stuff about that. So that's some interesting stuff. Marvel has some interesting news this week. First up, Spider-Man No Way Home finishes its filming. So now it is in the process of being edited and post-production. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. It has 9 months to get all the special effects edited, the voiceover, advertising, trailers, all that stuff. 9 months to do that, because it comes out December 17th. So it should hit that window. It should be delayed anytime, so that should hit that window. So that's pretty good. Hulk has started filming this week, so it is the next Marvel project when one ends, which now puts Hawkeye and Miss Marvel and now She-Hulk currently are filming right now in the TV series area. Doctor Strange, I think, is just about going to be finished up filming there. Doctor Strange 2 is just about to be finished filming there. Black Panther 2 should be starting filming soon, as should, I think they said, Ant-Man and the Wasp and what's the other one? Captain Marvel 2 should be starting filming very soon as well. So you got that. But on top of that, we knew something like this was going to happen. Earlier this year, Disney Plus, after seeing all these changes that Warner Bros. Stuff like that have been making movies, they said, we're still sticking with Black Widow to come out May 4th, May 9th, whatever it was, on time, as it was scheduled to be, and that we are not going to premiere it on Disney Plus. Because the outlook looked good back in January. We had a new president, and things looked potentially on the upswing. But then, it takes time to get things rolling, stuff like that. And the COVID vaccine rollout was taking a little bit longer to get rolled out. And they still, at this point now, most states should have opened up the vaccine for everyone by May 1st, which was a deadline that I think President Biden put into place, that he said that really should be the case. And that being said, that makes it a little bit too close to the opening of Black Widow, because not everybody would have been able to get vaccinated till May 1st. And so that's only the first vaccination for a lot of people. So they won't be able to get their second one for almost a month. So it looks like May might actually be another kind of a wash month for movies. Though later on the show, I'll tell you about a movie that has moved up into May due to what I'm about to tell you. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that Disney Plus said they're looking at things now. They're still aiming for early May, but they're looking at something else. Well, we got that something else this week, as Black Widow has officially been moved to July 9th. However, this will be the last time it will move, because as part of the stipulation, it'll be in movie theaters July 9th. As part of the stipulation, it will also be streamed on Disney Plus the same day. Now, as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of movies being out in theaters and streaming at the same time. Now, the difference in this one is that Disney is putting Black Widow on July 9th. Disney Plus putting in their special position where with Mulan and Raya and the Last, you have to purchase it for a one-time bill, a one-time purchase of $29.99 to get it. Whereas Warner Brothers was just going to stream their movies live for free the same time they come out in theaters, which angered the theater people, because that means why would they pay money to go to the movie theater when they can watch it at home for free? So now Disney decided that they think that that's a good model. They're doing that for that movie and for the Cruella movie that they're really pushing also. So it will be released in movie theaters, but you can watch it at home too the day it comes out in movie theaters. However, you will have $30 to watch it. Now, you can make a case that that's kind of a wash, because if you take your family to watch Black Widow at the movie theater, it's probably going to cost you more between the tickets and the snacks and stuff like that. But it's not like outrageous. You could technically say it might cost about $50-some, maybe a little bit more than that. That's about a $20 to $30 difference between that and seeing it on Disney Plus for $30. You get the big screen feel for it. You get to movie theater. You get to get out of the house. So that's what movie theaters are hoping for. It's moved to July. So if you don't have air conditioning, they do. So you can go in an air-conditioned movie theater and watch it. So it's kind of a wash in the end. You can, it's it's a one-time fee of $30, so not everybody has to pay $30. So it's just a one-time fee, so you get your whole family to watch it in front of TV for $30. Or you can go to the movie theater as a whole family. It costs a little bit more, but you get out of the house and experience the whole thing. So not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but July seems to be a good window for it. It's 2 months after when everybody should be vaccinated. Granted, they're going to be the anti-vaxxer idiots who are not going to get the vaccinations. But with the exception of children, everyone else should be vaccinated by that time, and it might make things a little bit easier. They'll still be doing probably the social distancing, stuff like that. It still might be a big thing, but we'll see. So I'll have to take a look and see how things are going, but that's the way that's going with that as well. Now, because of it being moved to the July 9th slot, which was when Shang-Chi was supposed to come out, they've now moved Shang-Chi to September 3rd, which is Labor Day weekend, which is, I think, is a good weekend to do it, an end of summer Marvel film to show up for that. I think it's a good idea, and it might get, might not get as many people watching, but it is Labor Day weekend, so it is a 3-day weekend. So it's probably the best weekend for it to come out, other than sometime in the summer, and they don't want to push it. Plus, by then September, now you're May, June, July, August. Now you're 4 months instead of 2 months. You're 4 months away from vaccination stuff and herd immunity, stuff like that. So I think it's a good deal for Shang-Chi. Now that doesn't affect Eternals date or Spider-Man Far Way Home. Their dates are staying the same, so Disney's not changing those up. But so that's the case with that. Since we're still on the topic of Marvel, Falcon Winter Soldier Episode 2 dropped this weekend. Spoilers coming up real quick. I'll talk real quick about it. Continues the good stuff that the TV shows are doing so far. You get introduced to John. I can't remember his last name now. John Walker, who is now the new Captain America, played by Kurt Russell's son, which I didn't know. So I think that's kind of cool. So you have Walker makes his first appearance. You get a little bit of history about him. You see him in his happy marriage. You see him with his partner, Battlestar, who has his own Bucky. He has his own Bucky now. And he goes back to his high school where he's treated like a huge hero. He's been in training. He knows how to throw the shield pretty good. He's a former, soldier and stuff like that, and does pretty good. The therapist for Sebastian Stan's Bucky has worked with John Walker before when they were deployed together, so she knows him as well. And we get a little bit of idea about him, and then finally Sam and Bucky are reunited as they are continuing their search for the Flag Smashers, and they discover as they're working together in a fantastic action sequence that they have stolen a truck full of the super soldier serum, and a lot of their acolytes have been taking the super soldier serum, and that's why they're these badass fighters as well, and they don't know where they're taking these massive super soldier serums to. The motivations are a little confusing because the Flag Smashers want the one world, one world and border sort of thing, but they are going to refugee camps from people who came back from the blip, and they don't like the people who came back from the blip. I don't know why they're going to inject the people who are running the facility to destroy the people who are the blip survivors, or they want to get the blip survivors on there. So I'm not exactly sure. The motivations are a little unclear, but we'll get more clarity, I'm sure, because WandaVision was a little unclear at certain things, but we finally got pretty much an idea of what everything was all about later on. And then there's a sequence where Sam and Bucky, who have a great relationship repartee wise. I mean, they don't really like each other, but the actors are phenomenal playing off each other. They have a sequence where they both have to do the shrink visit with the shrink, and is one of the funniest sequences in the show, and also an idea of what Bucky's thinking of right now. We also get some introduction to a character from Marvel Comics history, and Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America, who was a character in a comic book that came out in the early 2000s, which basically said that after Captain America disappeared, they were trying to redo the super soldier serum. So they decided to test it on black people, because at that time, black people were, again, even though they were free, were considered less, less than regular people. So they were tested, say like the Tuskegee Airmen, they were tested. A lot of them suffered and died. And one somehow was able to get the power, and he became like their weapon for a while as he fought in secret to stop the aftermath of World War II and the introduction of the Cold War and stuff like that. But instead of treating him like Captain America, like a hero, and showing him off and doing all this stuff, they kept him locked up. They tested him every day. They did terrible stuff to him because, hey, he's a lesser human being. He's black. So we're getting more into the racism aspect of it. So we get an introduction to him as Bucky ran into him in Korea in the 1950s, and he remembers him, and he wants to give Sam some perspective of what is actually going on. So they go to Baltimore. Yay, Baltimore shout out, which is where Isaiah lives, and Isaiah is none too happy to see either of them, and is still harboring a lot of ill will. And he's older, played by Carl Lumley, great character actor from the 80s and 90s, played Mantis actually in the 1990s TV show on Fox. But he's much older now, but he still has the superpowers of the super soldier serum in him, and he's aging a lot less than the others are as well, who have the super soldier serum, who don't age as much. But he is getting older, and he's angry as he should be. He was screwed over by the government. They've disavowed him. They threw him in jail for 30 years, stuff like that, for stealing like Captain America stuff when he came back, that type of. So even though they gave it to him, it was all this, hey, he's black, no one's going to really care, sort of thing. So we're doing a more exploration into racism, and it's fantastic. It's great. And there's also continuing the prospect that looks like Marvel is going to be introducing the Young Avengers, because in WandaVision we got Wanda's two sons who become members of the Young Avengers. We have Cassie, Ant-Man's daughter, who's already been recast and will be in the new Ant-Man movie, who's going to be popping up for that. We have Kate Bishop, who's going to be in the Hawkeye TV show, also making an appearance. And now with the arrival of Isaiah Bradley, there was a younger in the house with him. They call his grandfather, and that is going to be I forget the character's name, but he's going to be playing Patriot of the Young Avengers as well. So we're getting all the pieces put into place that it looks more and more like we'll be seeing a Young Avengers. Plus, you can throw Miss Marvel in there if you want. He technically wasn't a member of the Young Avengers, but technically you could throw that in there as well. So that would be an interesting take if they're going to decide to do that down the line. So that's a really good thing like that. But and then we're finally going to get a shout out to Zemo. Zemo is basically right now we think is going to be playing the Hannibal Lecter role. Bucky and Sam are going to go see him he's being confined in prison. They need to ask him questions about the pawnbroker, whose name was dropped as well in this as well. So things are progressing very nicely. I like the episode, particularly the introduction of Isaiah Bradley as the Black Captain America, and that's going to be an interesting thing to look at down the line. So it was all in all a really good episode. Spoilers are over, done with. We can keep moving like that. There was one other story that showed up a little later down the line here. I'll see if I can find it. But in Devil, I think during one of Brian Michael Bendis's during his run, he introduced a character named Echo. Was a deaf assassin. So you have the deaf assassin going up against the blind daredevil. Apparently, and I guess I'll find it later when I come across it. Apparently, Echo will be in the Hawkeye TV series, and they liked the character and they liked the actress they hired for it. That they have decided to give her own spin-off TV series. So that's a good. I'll find it again. So that's kind of good to see that as well. So Echo will be getting. Oh, there it is. Echo will be getting her own TV series off the MCU as a deaf assassin, whereas you have Daredevil, who's a blind here, and that was kind of an interesting play off of each other. So, but in this case, they're putting Echo in the Hawkeye series, so that should be just as interesting as well. So good on that. So we'll see about that. I saw something else that I want to talk about. That was Jeff Goldblum has been seen on the set of Thor: Love and Thunder, which people believe that he will be making a reappearance as the Games Master, or the Grandmaster, I should say, popping up in the new Thor movie. So that's a God, I have a lot of stuff to go over today. So that is a plus on that as well. I think I need to keep moving because there's a lot of stuff we got to go through today. So we got that. Keeping with comic books real quick, the San Diego Comic-Con will be having a online convention again, its usual time in July, but they announced this week that they will be having an in-person convention Thanksgiving weekend, which is drawing the ire of a lot of creators because it would be probably the first Thanksgiving in a year or so where people be able to be with their families again. Now, as I said, now you're May to June, July, August, October. Now you're 6 months removed from when everybody should be vaccinated. So everybody is assuming that this upcoming holiday season at the end of this year is going to be the first in over 365 days that people are going to be able to interact with their families due to COVID not being as big of an issue anymore. So a lot of people, we'll see if this still hangs out, but the fact is San Diego Comic-Con wants to do an in-person convention again, and they want to be the first people to do it. They just happen to pick the absolute worst weekend, because not only is it Thanksgiving weekend, it's also the most traveled weekend in the year. And the fact is also it's going, if things are going as people are expecting it to, it is going to be the worst traveling weekend in history, probably for a long time, because everybody will be wanting to visit their families and travel and do stuff. So the roads are going to be a mess. Airlines are going to be a mess. Hotel rooms are going to be booked. It's just going to be an absolute insane period. So I don't know if this is a really good idea, but it's not up to me. But the fact is that they're interested in doing in-person conventions. Now, San Diego's the big one, and I think they're trying to be maybe the first one to do that. But you got to remember, Baltimore Comic-Con, the one that my comic guy, who store right up the street here, he runs it. He did an online one last year, but his is usually in the September, October period. He might be contemplating, I can do my convention this year, and it's going to be insane because creators. I think this year it's in October, like mid-October, I think is the date. Actually, let me see if I can get the date for that as well. Because if that's the case, it is going to be an absolutely lit convention if he runs it right. October 22nd to the 24th, 2021. Holiday weekend. It's not Halloween weekend. It's not a major family weekend. It is a weekend in October. So creators are going to be like, I haven't been to a con in over a year. It's money, interacting with people. I can sell my shit and stuff like that. And Baltimore isn't that far away from us. And we like Baltimore because they do. Creators love Baltimore. Baltimore Comic-Con could very well be the first big convention of the year. October, again, is a 5-month removed from everybody getting vaccinated. And by then, hopefully the convention center, which is where the Comic-Con will be, will have removed all the vaccination stuff because it is now presently a vaccination site. And obviously, if everybody wants to get vaccinated by May, they'll keep it up probably through the summer. But they will probably be lessening it and small enough so that they can start getting conventions there and they can make some money as well. So we'll see what happens if that's coming up there. real quick. The Wonder Years reboot, which is going to Cheadle, speaking of Marvel, to do the narration. It was Daniel Stern who did it for the Wonder Years original one with Fred Savage. We got Don Cheadle on them. He's got that good voice, so it probably works really good. Ally McBeal, Revivals and the Worst with Calista Flockhart. John Fish, played by Peter McNichol, is my spirit animals. I actually love the character, but the fact is they're all much older now, and I'm not sure if this is going to be as interesting or an exciting show now that they're in their 50s and stuff like that. It's not going to be that sort of bubbly romantic comedy sort of vibe to it. It's going to be something completely different, I think. So we'll see what happens. Satan shoes by Nike are going to be sold. I guess Nas, ex-Nas or whatever, who did the Uptown Road or whatever popular song from last year was, has done a song now where he gives lap dance to Satan sort of thing. It's causing all kinds of issues for conservatives and stuff like that. Well, he's teamed up with Nike to create Satan shoes, which have apparently a drop of human blood in them, which, okay, doesn't affect me in any way, so I don't care. Bubble candles is a thing. They're candles that it's like multiple small bubble candles wrapped around one big thing that you light, and they all melt together and give a nice scent. Should be an interesting little thing. It's on Etsy mostly, right? So it's an interesting aspect as well. The Sony has bought, who owns Funimation, one of the preeminent anime streaming channels, has bought Crunchyroll, which was one of the other preeminent streaming anime channels, and they were hoping that they could combine them into one big streaming service for anime fans. However, it has run into a government. I should say a federal roadblock, because there are fears that this could be the beginning of a monopoly, and there's lots of issues about monopolies. Now, when Diamond was doing the same thing, it had some issues with the federal government about monopolies, but it ended up winning their case, so it's possible that Sony could still win this case, but it still has to get processed. So the Crunchyroll Funimation combining is probably not going to happen within this year. Even if they get a successful approval, it probably won't roll out till probably next year at the earliest now, because it's going to take months to go through the depositions and the court case and stuff like that. And then once they make the decision, if it's decided in their favor, then they're going to have to figure out how they're going to run it as it pertains to the law, because that's going to be one thing that's going to be discovered during court cases. If you're not going to be considered a monopoly, one of the, I guess, the defense of it is, how are you going to make sure it's not going to be run like a monopoly? And that way, if they can make a good case, and then they might be able to do it, then they have to put it in place. So we'll see what happens about that. Good on that. I should have added this to the Disney Plus stuff, but Enchanted, that wonderful little Disney film from almost, it had to be 10 plus years ago, Patrick Dempsey, Amy Adams, about a fairy tale princess from a cartoon who gets zapped into the real world, as does her nemesis, and they have to deal with, and she falls in love with a normal guy, and the prince she's supposed to fall in love with, played by James Marsden, is a complete fool, and he also gets sucked in as well. And it kind of becomes sort of this weird kind of romantic comedy sort of thing. So it did really well. So an Enchanted sequel has been put into place by Disney Plus. It's called Disenchanted, and everybody has re-signed on. Amy Adams, James Marsden, Idina Menzel. I didn't know she was even in it. Maybe she played the bad woman. I never saw the film, but maybe she played the bad woman. And Patrick Dempsey have all signed on to reprise their roles. So that'll be coming out really soon. Maybe not really soon. Maybe I would assume probably, if they haven't started filming it yet, it may make it by the holiday season this year if they can get it filmed and in the can quickly. I don't know when it got filmed, because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of special effects in this. You could probably run this in a 6-month window. You could film it pre-production, film it post-production, and get it released to streaming within a 6-month period, which sets you at March, April, May, June, July, August. We'll put it at September. So if you want to get a little extra time, October, November for Thanksgiving, that's 8 months, 9 months for December. So it's a problem as long as you start filming like soon, maybe within the next couple of weeks. I think they're starting pre-production now since they're talking about it and they've re-signed all the cast, stuff like that. If you can get that started filming quickly and get it moving about that, it could probably release for the holidays this season. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that. So to be continued on that, but I just want to let you know there are fans of that movie out there, so they have the chance to see that as well. Alaska, I talked about Alaska being the Alaska customer service rep for comic book stores out there. And yes, there were. There was actually about 3 or 4 big stores out there. A1 Comics and Cars, Comics, and Collectibles was another one. Not to be confused with my Cars, Comics, and Collectibles down the road. But Alaska Costco shoppers are complaining that ravens have been stealing their groceries. So I guess basically they're taking their carts out, and the carts are open air, and you have your bags in the car, or not in the bags. It's Costco. You don't have bags. They're just sitting out there in the open, and the ravens come flying in and go zoop and just take your stuff. I think that's funny as hell if that's actually true. It is. It was on Snopes, and they said, yeah, it's true. It's happening. So that's interesting. Also in the animal world, a beaver made its way onto the Toronto Metro, which is their version of the subway. And it disrupted the morning commute earlier this week. So how the hell does a beaver get onto a metro? And it disrupted the morning commute earlier this week. So how the hell does a beaver get onto a metro? Maybe there's a stop out in the boonies. I don't know. I mean, when you look at the metro stops and subway stops for other cities, you do have it in neighborhoods and stuff like that. I mean, Toronto is not like the boonies or anything like that. It's a pretty nice big city. It's about the size of New York, I think. But maybe out there they might have been able to get a beaver from there somewhere. WWE legend Road Dogg has been hospitalized due to a heart attack. So our thoughts and prayers for him. On December 29th, 2018, the coldest temperature ever recorded in a storm was recorded. But let me explain. We have 2 hemispheres, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The equator divides them. Right now it is spring hemisphere and it is fall in the southern hemisphere. So winter in the southern hemisphere is during our summer in June, July, and August. Their winter is June, July, and August. So then it reverses. When our fall hits, their spring hits, and then when our winter hits, their summer hits. So their summer is December, January, or technically it's January, February, March. December, if you want to, December, January, February, March, if you want to. That's important because I'm about to say, so the date was December 29th, 2018, and a tropical storm, which, again, it was in the southern hemisphere. So 12/29/18 is basically June 29th, 2018. So that's in the middle of hurricane season up here. So it's in the middle of hurricane season down there because they have the way things are, the storms are going to trail off into the southern hemisphere and not up to the northern hemisphere, the way things were. Anyway, so how in the hell does a tropical storm that the name itself implies warm weather, warm winds, have the coldest temperature ever recorded in Earth history? Well, the answer is, real quick, the way a hurricane is formed, tropical storm is formed, is the wind comes off the ground and shoots up to create the funnel clouds and the big massive clouds you see with tropical storms and hurricanes. Now those winds, those clouds, if they go high, can actually break into the stratosphere and the atmosphere of our Earth. In outer space, it is brutally cold. So this storm had formed pretty big, and the clouds were stretching up into the stratosphere and into the lower atmosphere area. The temperatures were obviously going to be much cooler than it was. A temperature of negative 111 degrees Celsius, which I don't know my Celsius and Fahrenheit stuff, but when you think about it, 0 Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's just I know this isn't probably, let's just add 32 to that, make it negative 142 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, you can get a general idea of that. So that's a kind of neat little weather sort of aspect to think about that. But a negative 100 general idea of that. So that's a kind of neat little weather sort of aspect to think about that. But a negative 111 degrees Celsius temperature was discovered, and they have the radar to prove it too. And it was this deep, deep blue at the top of all this white. It was crazy. Before I get to the morons of the Republican Party, let's cover the deaths this week, which again, as I said, Thursday was a weird day. Well, one of the deaths that week was, or that day, was Jessica Walter, actress from Arrested Development, also was voice on Archer and did a bunch of stuff as well. She passed away this week. Larry Mcmurtry, writer of Lonesome Dove and Brokeback Mountain, died at the age of 84. The day earlier, writer Beverly Cleary, who wrote, the Mouse and Motorcycle, Ramonio and Beezus, and all those, Are You There, Goddess, Me, Margaret, Dear Mr. Henshaw, all these types of really good, books that you grew up with. She passed away at the age of 104, which was wow. That's absolutely crazy. So she died first, and then Larry Mcmurtry died a day later. So we lost to George Siegel, passed away at the age of 87 this week as well. He's another big-time actor. Was in Just Shoot Me, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Copy was the first place I ever saw him, which was Denzel Washington's first film. And he was most recently on the Goldbergs as a regular on that show. So he popped up there. So he passed away then. Schellenberger, a college football coaching legend, died at the age of 87, was the first person to get Miami a national championship, and then basically led them to their 80s and 90s dominance during that period of time. So he passed away this week. Oz actor Craig Mums Grant, dead at the age of 52. College basketball player Oscar Freyer tragically died in a car crash days after playing in the NCAA tournament this week as well. El Salvadorian surfer vying for Tokyo Olympics, I didn't get her name, dies after being struck by lightning. That's terrible. Glenn Lunny, a NASA flight director who lived from the trench to the moon, died at the age of 84. NBA legend for the Lakers and a coach, Elgin Baylor, died at the age of 86 this week. Texas Roadhouse CEO, who owns the Texas Roadhouse, or was the CEO of the Texas Roadhouse restaurant, died by suicide after battling painful post-COVID-19 symptoms. Again, didn't get his name, but he passed away this week as well. Houston Tunlin, Talladega Nights actor, died at the age of 28. He played one of the young boys, one of, I guess, Ricky Bobby's sons. Since the movie was, 10 plus years ago, that would make a little bit of sense. So we had a lot of people pass away this week, but some big names this week. So we'll see what happens next week. Now we can get into Republicans being stupid again. Now, Dominion voting machines was under a lot of fire after the November elections, after that asshole terrorist who was the president before President Biden claimed that the election was rigged, and his stupid followers were blaming the Dominion voting machines, that they were changing votes and stuff like that. Well, Dominion voting machines are like, that's bullshit. You're lying your asses off. And they're like, oh, yeah, prove it. And so like, okay, we're going to sue your asses. So the court case would take them, into the investigation process. They would lay out their case and all that stuff. They knew they were right, but the Trumpers were just trumpeting their vocalness, trying to be all badass. And now they're getting their asses handed to them. Sidney Powell, who was one of the senators or whatever, who was really pushing that, is being sued by them. And so I'll get to her in a little. I'm not going to cover her right now. I'll get to her later in the show, but because something stupid happened today, this week with her. So she's getting sued. I think they also have a case pending against the former president as well. But the big one now is they also are suing Fox News, passing along that as well. So I think that, and they are not offering a compromise. Fox News will, could just settle out of court, so that doesn't cause a problem. No, Dominion wants to fuck them in the ass because they are ruin their good name. So there is going to be no compromise. They are going to take their asses to court, and they're going to win, and they're going to destroy Fox News. And I cannot be more excited to see that. Obviously things could change, obviously, but as of now, that's what they're saying right now. A stupid asshole fucking Republican Montana senator said the quiet part out loud, and this is actually more of a funny story. He was talking at a live, televised event where he was saying that he remembered when homegrown meth was all the rage in Montana, and now all the meth is coming from Mexico. So you literally just said that your state of Montana has been making an illegal drug that kills people. And you're upset that we used to have that homegrown meth and not this Mexican crap. God, they are so stupid. And the fact that they are in power still and not in jail or anything like that is driving me bonkers. Ugh. Fucking ridiculous. Morons. You know what? I'm going to find this City Pal thing. Yeah, there we go. So City Pal's defense lawyer is saying that her conspiracy theories about the Dominion voting machines are way too outlandish to be taken seriously. So basically she's saying, and that's what other people are saying also, is that, all these lies we've been telling you, you shouldn't have been believing them in the first place. That they were all lies. This is their defense. They're saying they were lies. We knew they were lies. Only stupid people would believe them. Well, those stupid people tried to take over the government in the Capitol insurrection, which is a whole other thing that's driving me absolutely bonkers. So you basically just called your followers a bunch of stupid hick morons and just proved to us who've been calling them that, and you've been defending them, that you believe that they are the same way. And that's their defense. Is like, well, our defense that, no one in their right mind would believe them. Tucker Carlson was a similar thing. No one in their right mind would believe Tucker Carlson's conspiracy theories. So basically, you're saying you're lying. There's some repercussions for lying about this shit. And hopefully Dominion is just going to open the door for all that because they're suing all these people. And hopefully they're all going to get their asses kicked. So just absolutely mind-boggling how stupid stuff is. So I covered that real quick. So all right, I need to get into that. And where else would be a better place to start than Hostess Sundae Cupcakes? Hostess is revealing their new cupcakes for the summer. It's the sundae flavored cupcakes, ice cream sundae flavored cupcakes. They look pretty good. And hey, guess what else they're doing also? They're also releasing key lime cupcakes as well. So those are the big things coming out of Hostess Cupcakes now. So they've got some big time stuff. I figured I'll find this now because I'm on this right now. Pop-Tarts, they see Hostess. They see Hostess doing these two new flavors, and they're like, "Hold my beer." So Pop-Tarts, as we mentioned earlier in a couple shows back, that they are going to be releasing a favorite Pop-Tart, which actually I'm intrigued to taste it because I'm a weirdo. I'm intrigued to taste it, see what it's going to taste like. So that's coming out this summer. Well, they've also decided that, this summer we're really going to go balls to the walls with summer flavors. We're going to try some different stuff. So Pop-Tarts, much like the Oreos used to be, and the Oreos are still doing stuff like that, but they haven't been doing as much now. But Pop-Tarts have announced this week, not only along with your pink lemonade flavor, we're going to release a peach cobbler flavored Pop-Tart, a lemon cream pie flavored Pop-Tart, a banana cream pie flavored Pop-Tart, a lemon cream pie flavored Pop-Tart, a banana cream pie flavored Pop-Tart, and a tropical mango flavored Pop-Tart, all coming this summer to join the pink lemonade one. So you're going to be inundated with summer flavors of Pop-Tarts, which is, I'm not sure I want to try all of them, but some of them are intriguing. Sure, absolutely. So why not? Where is that? I have something else that has some summer flavors coming out. I might have to wait on that. I wish I could combine. I wish I would have combined these better, but oh, well, I'm not going to worry about them right now. We'll get to them eventually. But it's probably on this page. Yeah, Angry Orchard. Yeah, there it is right there. Angry Orchard. The hard cider guys are also getting involved in the summer flavor wars this year. They're doing a strawberry and peach mango. So peach mango seems to be the big flavor du jour this summer. So they'll be doing 2 versions of that. I wouldn't mind trying the strawberry cider. It might not be too bad. So let's look into that a little bit. Also coming this summer, is, particularly here in Baltimore, we are a huge crab fan, and crabs are a mess when you get them. They're delicious, but you have to break the shells off, break the legs off, and throw the guts and lungs and all that stuff into trash. And it's a big old mess, but it's a lot of fun. Somebody decided to come up with the idea for what they're calling a crawfish tabletop, but you can use it for crabs, shrimp, crawfish, clams, oysters, shrimp like. Basically, it's a giant tabletop that covers your table. It has dishes surrounding a trash can. So basically, you can surround a trash can on this tabletop with your shrimp, your crawfish, your crabs, your clams, your oysters, whatever. And you're going to have a trash can with a black bag. The hole is right there. So you just take your stuff and just dump it into that hole instead of having to put in a separate or put off the side and then clean up that way. You just have to like that. It makes sense to me. It's amazing that it took so long for it to be created. Also, in the new world of creative inventions, Dyson, which is obviously the greatest vacuum cleaner company in the world, has created a vacuum now that uses a laser that detects microscopic dust and sweeps it up and sucks it up. Microscopic dust, stuff we can't even see. They say, oh shit, there's some dust there. We'll suck it right back up. Now, you'd think that they would have been able to do that by now, but this laser, I guess they weren't thinking fourth dimensionally, and I guess they went that with that aspect of it, and there we go. This is kind of an interesting local news story. Swimming in a truck on I-95 here in Baltimore. Now, it's a big freight truck, and the top side, everything's closed off, and then there's one little window. And this woman took a video of a shark peering out the window. So apparently it seems like this might be sharks being transported to an aquarium or to some sort of biological preserve or something like that, live ones. So they obviously filled this tank, this video, and it's kind of intriguing to see pictures of these the sharks just on the middle of the highway, I-95, in the middle of Baltimore. It's kind of funny. You don't expect to see that. KFC is teaming up with Meals on Wheels to offer food for the Meals on Wheels program. That's a really good day to do that. They've also someone created an escape ramp to help animals who have fallen into swimming pools get out of the pools fairly easily without drowning. Squirrels, cats, dogs, birds, animals that have, frogs that have gotten into swimming pools or whatever, obviously that are smaller than normal, because this is the big ones could probably, dig their way out, hopefully. But if a smaller animal falls in, it might be easier for them to use this ramp to get out. So it's kind of a interesting thing to do as well. Bindi Irwin, the daughter of his first name, but the Australian guy that everybody loves, Steve Irwin, who died horribly from that ray sting, gave birth to her first child, would have been Steve Irwin's grandchild. So congratulations to them. Dirty Dancing is a great summer film, and they are finally going to release the first ever Dirty Dancing Funko Pops. So I think it's cool. They're also going to be releasing Kid and Play Funko Pops as well in the coming weeks. So those are some interesting things. Well, the Dirty Dancing ones are really cool looking. And they're also releasing Mummy Pops based on the Brendan Fraser movie. So Pops are really going absolutely crazy with their Pops, and I think that's a really good thing. Halloween's coming up. Not really, but still. Jack Skellington, our friendly neighborhood pumpkin guy, Pumpkin King from Nightmare Before Christmas, is now revealed to be a Chia Pet now. You can get a Chia Pet version of Jack Skellington right now if you like to. So I got a little ahead of myself with Halloween. We still get summer. Spiral from the book of Saw, which is the new updated version of Saw with big time stars Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson involved in the Saw world. Was due out again, supposed to be last year, but got pushed back to COVID. They originally were going to come out the end of May, but with the fact that Black Widow has moved its date to July, they have now moved it up to May 14th. So now they may very well be the first big time summer film coming out this year. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson probably did not come with a huge salaries, and it's a slower version. It might even be a Blumhouse movie. I'm not even sure about that, but it's a budgeted film, obviously. A little bit bigger, obviously, because of Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, but still, it's a smaller budget. And plus, you have the actors in it. If you release it in theaters and people are still hesitant about going to movie theaters, only a couple of weeks removed from getting the vaccine, stuff like that, if you even make a little bit of money, you should still be able to call it a success. So we'll find out about that as well. Patrick Schwarzenegger, son of Arnold Schwarzenegger, is joining his brother-in-law, Chris Pratt, in Chris Pratt's new Amazon miniseries, the Terminal List. It's a conspiracy theory TV show that Chris Pratt is headlining, and Patrick Schwarzenegger has signed on for not a main role, but a recurring role that could be very important. But he will be working with his brother-in-law in that TV show as well. And the fact that Chris Pratt is doing another TV show with his brother-in-law in that TV show as well, and the fact that Chris Pratt is doing another TV show. Technically, it's not going to be a TV show. These limited series are the way of the future now. So it's also how England does a lot of their stuff. You can get big actors to come out. If you only do like a 6-episode thing, then 2 years later, if more of it, then you can do another one. Give them time to continue their movie career. But then if they want something a little bit more steady, there you go. Ronald D. Moore, producer of Battlestar Galactica and Outlander, is going to adapt Sarah J. Maas's book series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I just got from my wife last Easter. And then I got her the 2 new books that have been out since the 3. I originally got her the original 3 last Easter. The other 2 more books have come. One just came out a couple of weeks ago for her birthday. So we're going to get a TV show of that. So we'll find out more info when that comes. She enjoyed the book, so she might like that as well. Pickle margaritas are a thing. You use pickle juice added to your tequila to make yourself a pickle margarita. Might be interesting. It's got sort of a similar, taste to what you're expecting. It actually doesn't sound as disgusting as you think it might be. It might actually sounds pretty good. A nice little story. A homeless dog who kept going into a Dollar General and stealing a stuffed unicorn, finally had animal control. When they came to get the dog again after he did it for the 3rd or 4th time, they decided, no, we'll just buy it for him so he can have it. And then they bought it for him, and then they took him to one of the not dog pounds, but one of those sites that you hold dogs and cats, homeless pets, until they get bought and or adopted. So adoption centers. So let's go on that. Residents of China videotape a square that lit up in the night sky. Multiple videos show this. They believe that a portal to somewhere opened up, and they don't quite understand what it is. That was on one of my supernatural websites. I don't know how true it is, but there are multiple tapes of this strange lit up square in the sky of China. Not knowing exactly what that's all about. Disney wants to add Wakanda to Disneyland. Wakanda Land to Disneyland. Why not? I mean, Disney World gets all the stuff. They got the Star Wars world and the Harry Potter stuff like that. And Disney World's a huge resort. And so Disneyland is one of the smaller ones. So they're starting to expand a little bit. So this is a good way to expand. So they want to add a Wakanda to Disneyland. And then just before I went on the show, it appears that Disneyland is sent a bill to the California government to see if they can expand their resort even further. To compete with Disney World and make it as big and as great as Disney World is, so people will also be interested in going to Disneyland, because Disneyland was always like the first one, but was also the smallest one, and it was outshined by and overshadowed by the bigger Disney World one. But now they're trying to make their case that we're on par with them, and so they've got a lot of stuff coming with that. So that should be interesting to take a look at. Everybody knows I love Reese's peanut butter cups, so they now have Reese's Cupcakes that are filled with the Reese's peanut butter in the middle, so that could be interesting tasting stuff. George R. Martin has signed an overall deal with HBO. I guess they're going to be producing a lot more of his work, so like that. Just wish he would finish his Game of Thrones series, which he's been working on now for about 5 or 6 years. Just in time for Easter, cream egg McFlurries are back. Much like the Cadbury cream eggs that you all love around this time, this is a similar cream egg McFlurry using similar stuff to make the McFlurry. Also, Cheesecake Factory has ice cream now, so you can get those ice creams and try them as well. New Zealand approves paid leave for women who suffer miscarriages, and I guess maybe men as well who suffer miscarriages. It's definitely a hugely mental hit when you lose your baby. In some cases, one that might be your first one, you've been trying for years, and you lose them. It's a mental state that is not good, and to have to go right back into work after losing a miscarriage is terrible. So New Zealand is continuing to lead the way. They are now giving you paid leave to recover from your miscarriage, which is, you don't want that to happen. But if it does happen, the fact that New Zealand's got your back and you can mourn and get set and get mentally straight again. You're never going to be perfect, but at least you can, have a little bit of time and not have to get rushed right back into work is a good thing. Despite the fact that there's all this stuff with COVID, uncertainty with COVID, there are still movies being released. A lot of them are straight to streaming. Some are getting some minor releases in movie theaters. I told you last week the Academy Awards nominees, I haven't heard of most of them. Most of them have come out on streaming, and so they're still doing that type of thing. There's one that looked intriguing to me. It's called Happily. It's a dark romantic comedy, I guess they say, about a older couple, probably in their 30s. Joel McHale is the main one, and Kimmy Bichet is the wife, who love each other so much that they have sex multiple times, 2-3 times a day. And apparently in the neighborhood they moved into, word gets out that they do that, and it's disturbing to the people in that neighborhood. So mystery man in the form of Stephen Root shows up with 2 injections that says, periodically we have people who are above the norm and we need to settle them down. You guys have been having sex too much, so take this drug and settle down. I think one of them does and the other doesn't, and it causes all kinds of issues. So it looks intriguing, looks interesting. I don't know much about it, but it looks intriguing, I should say that. Last Unicorn writer Peter S. Beagle finally reclaims his rights to his work after a long legal battle. So he now re-owns the rights to the book that he wrote and the movie that it became and stuff like that. A huge chunk of an ancient planet has been found buried inside of the Earth. A lot of people realize that that's part of what could have formed Earth was when another planet crashed into us. So we found other proof that there is an ancient planet inside of Earth's crust. Now that was from like a science and NASA website. That's not from one of my supernatural or weird sort of thing like that. So that's an actual thing that actually happened. Florida man arrested after bringing. I think it's supposed to be Florida mom arrested after bringing boxing gloves to daughter's school to help beat up a classmate. Well, at least your mom or your dad or whatever got your back. No, it's not right. Beer pong golf set. Beer pong is usually played with a ping pong and you throw it. Well, now you can use it as a golf set. If you're a golfer, you can do chip shots and putts and stuff like that to do the whole beer pong thing. So you actually have a beer pong golf set now. Oof, an hour and 25 minutes in. I still have 2.5 pages to go. I'm going to have to start blowing through this stuff. Pierce Brosnan has been cast as Dr. Fate in the new Black Adam movie. I think that's great casting for them. So good job on that. Zatanna, who is my wife's favorite DC character, one of my favorites as well, is getting a DC movie as well from promising young woman director. Emerald something or other. I think she's writing the script. I don't know if she's directing it, but she is writing the script for it. So she will be getting her own DC movie. I know there's some other DC stuff. I don't think it's on this page. I think it's not flipped over on this side. Let's see if I can just briefly go through this a little bit and see if I can find more DC stuff. Yeah, okay. Ron Livingston, he of Office Space, has replaced Billy Crudup as Ezra Miller's Barry Allen's dad, Henry Allen, in the Ezra Miller Flash movie. And Michael Keaton may be backing out of his potential role in the Flash movie as well. So that's to be continued. We'll see if that's going to be something that's going to be an issue down the line. Let's see, anything else I can see DC related? Nothing here right now. Oh yeah, Shazam! Fury of the Gods has cast Helen Mirren as the bad guy, which I think is brilliant casting. So I think that's great job. DC's got some good stuff coming. Oh yeah, I think I missed that as well. But the real big news is the Suicide Squad trailer. Where is that? Did I miss that? I must have skipped that. James Gunn's version of Suicide Squad released its first trailer this week. Did I miss that? I guess I missed it. Doesn't matter, though, because we'll talk about it now. But, yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, we get a general idea of what is in store with it. And it looks exactly like you think it is. It is the red band trailer, so there's cursing and stuff like that. But you get your first. It does exactly what it was supposed to. It got you excited for the series. Got you to see the main characters. Brought back Harley, Margot Robbie's Harley. Brought much Idris Elba to it. You get a little bit of view of King Shark. You learn is voiced by Sylvester Stallone, which is even better. We also learn who the big bad is in Starro the Conqueror. And you also get John Ostrander, who was the creator of the modern day Suicide Squad back in the 1980s, has a cameo role as the doctor who injects the bombs into the villains' heads. You get an idea of all the characters and see what they're up to and see what they're like. And it is absolutely brilliant. I loved it, and I'm excited to see it. And I really want to see it like yesterday. So it's like the first real big DC movie I'm excited about. Now, Zatanna is another one that I'm excited about now, too. I can't believe I skipped it somewhere. But yeah, so absolutely worth it to check it out. It's fantastic. So definitely just type it into like YouTube and or any of your comic websites or whatever will probably have it as well. So good on that. So definitely worthwhile. Habanero Tostitos flavor is the newest Tostitos flavor. The guacamole one is pretty good. Habanero is going to give you a little bit more of a kick. Krispy Kreme is offering to give vaccinated people free donuts And Dunkin' decide, hey, if you're going to do it, we're going to give away free donuts every April to everybody through April, every Wednesday through April. So you have that going on. But then, of course, with Krispy Kreme saying, only those who are vaccinated, you have to have a sign of vaccination, and we'll give you a free donut. The anti-vaxxers are whining, we want it too. So Krispy Kreme is going to work out some sort of deal with them, which absolutely makes the whole thing moot. The reason why you get the vaccination is to get the free donut. So if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you shouldn't be able to get a free donut, because that's the whole point. They want people to get vaccinated. So I don't know why they acquiesce to those assholes, unless they're like, oh, we're going to lose business. Oh, well, whatever. I don't know. Wolverines are going to be trained to help with avalanche survivors. So I guess that's interesting. Wolverines are creepy little critters that could be problematic if you have to try to train them on something. But if you train them up well enough, I suppose it could be a good sign of things to go. A robot arm performs the first ever remote tattoo. So basically, it was over computer. The guy said, this is the tattoo I want. He programmed it into the computer. There was a tattoo arm was put on the other side. And as he's typing, it's a really remote tattoos are an interesting sort of thing. And that's kind of a neat idea to look about. Disney Plus has greenlit a National Treasure TV show, but it will not star Nicolas Cage. It will actually star a Latina actress, so that could be an interesting take on things. Maybe we'll get a little bit more about Southwestern history, maybe, or maybe just we'll see how that's going to roll out. Cinnamon Toast Crunch cinnamon rolls from Pillsbury is the next big thing. Slowpoke, the great and wonderful Pokemon, has been chosen to be Japan's Postal Service mascot, which is kind of interesting since you have a name called Slowpoke, and you don't want to really have your mail site be known as a Slowpoke. That's kind of funny, though. UFO was videotaped breaking the sound barrier without dropping a sonic boom, so that's kind of interesting. Live action Yu Yu Hakusho TV show is coming to Netflix. It will be filming at the vaunted or coveted Toho Studios, which is where the Godzilla movies are filmed. Giant polar bear sleeping bag turns into a giant stuffed animal. So it's a wearable sleeping bag that makes you look like a polar bear, and it can turn into a giant stuffed animal for your pleasure as well. The Baltimore Orioles are opening a new Dominican Republic academy for potential baseball players. I don't think you necessarily are going to have to sign with the Orioles to do that, but it'd be a nice area for these young kids who don't really have a chance, who get scouted, to have a facility that they can work out at. They can be seen by different people and make the game better. So I think it's a really good idea. Cocoa Krispy cereal straws are returning after a 12-year hiatus. There are straws you can use to drink your milk up with, but then you can eat it because it's like eating Cocoa Krispy cereal. Fortnite possibly could be having a Jurassic World crossover. There have been rumors that during this primal season, which makes sense, that there are going to be dinosaurs appearing on the island. But now there might be more truth to it, because there's a spot in the game right now where there are these mysterious dinosaur eggs that have just shown up out of nowhere, so near dinosaur bones. So it could be a very intriguing addition to the game, and we'll find out as the season is now only about 2 weeks old. And beginning to like it a little bit more. I had 4 Victory Royales with my son yesterday alone, and I've had 2 solo ones personally, which finally is good. About 2 weeks in, I finally got my first couple solo victories, so I'm happy about that. An Instagram influencer cries about having to work a 9-to-5 job after her account is deleted. That just makes me ill, that these whiny people who feel like they are better than everybody and haven't done a damn thing in their life now have to work a 9-to-5 job like the rest of us. So that pisses me off a little bit. Just in time for summer vacation, this might be something I might pick up for our family because they love it. An inflatable cornhole board is now available that you can put in the swimming pool, and you play cornhole in the swimming pool. And that's actually a really kind of a neat idea. So maybe look into that a little bit more. Creature from the Black Lagoon reboot from Greg Nicotero of Walking Dead fame and Robert Rodriguez is potentially in the works right now, and that could actually be very, very cool if done properly. Steven Spielberg taps Seth Rogen to play his uncle in his let's just call it a biopic, really. It's Steven Spielberg's next movie. It's a personal film about his life that's going to star Michelle Williams, probably as his mother, I would assume. And Seth Rogen is now his favorite uncle. So he's casting some big stars in this like personal project. So I think that's a pretty good idea. As part of the whole Black Widow to July 9th and being available on Disney Plus, Disney made another unilateral decision. They had big success when Soul, the great Pixar movie that I reviewed a couple weeks ago and got a lot of Academy Award nomination loves and Golden Globe love, and it's got a lot of award wins already, came out free of charge on Disney Plus on Christmas. Well, their big summer Pixar film, what is the name of it again? Luca, about I guess it's like a mermaid boy who when he turns into a regular kid and has meets a friend, and they enjoy a summer in Italy or something like that, but he doesn't want to reveal his secrets. It seems like a Japanese anime film from Hayao Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli film, but it looks really cute. They've decided that they're going to give it the Soul treatment. They're not going to release it in movie theaters. They're going to drop it directly on Disney. It's Pixar, and as I said, it's got this really Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli feel. And as I said, it's got this really Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli feel to it. I think it's going to be a really good film, and they're dropping it for free. So I think that's a great idea. Zac Efron and Russell Crowe are replacing Dylan O'Brien and Viggo Mortensen in Peter Farrelly's Beer Run, which is based on a true story about a guy whose best friend was shipped out to Vietnam and is obviously having a rough time. So he decides to hatch a plan to deliver beer to him in the Vietnam jungle from America. And that's what the movie's going to be about. Zac Efron and Russell Crowe together might be soon. Daniel Radcliffe and Steve Buscemi have done a series on TBS. I forget what it's called. Miracle Workers. That is like the new version of Black Adder for America. Every season takes place with the same actors in a different situation. The first season of Miracle Workers was about angels who are trying to stop the destruction of the earth by a god who just doesn't care anymore. God played by Steve Buscemi, and one of the main angels played by Daniel Radcliffe. The second season was a medieval sex farce type of thing, castles and Google, sex farce type of thing, castles and goofy, accents and characters and stuff like that. The third one seems to be intriguing. It is the newest teaser came out this week. It's going to be Miracle Workers Oregon Trail, as Daniel Radcliffe will play a religious leader who's trying to lead a group of people to Oregon through the Oregon Trail, and they need someone to follow them, and they get Steve Buscemi's drunk cowboy thing. That might actually be an enjoyable film to check out. So it's an underrated show, and it's basically, you could technically call it the Black Adder for the 21st century. Quentin Tarantino is going to release his first ever novel, but it's nothing really original. It's based on his Screen Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was a great film, by the way. And he is going to expand the story in this in the novel. So if you like the movie, it might be good to pick up the novel to see what he adds. Water slide, 20 feet. Yes, most water slides are probably about 10. This is double that, 20-foot water slide. Heinz has done these mixed flavored buffalo sauce ranch and coolness, so maybe interesting. And then you get the buffalo sauce flavor with the ranch coolness, so maybe interesting on that. So I think that's everything on this page. So let's move right along right now. I got 20 minutes left, and I got a page and a half to go. We'll the community day for Pokemon Go in April. Finally, they're getting back to the starters, and didn't continue the trend of doing the starters. And then day for Pokemon Go in April. Finally, they're getting back, continue the trend of doing the starters, and then a Snivy community day. So I'm happy about that. That's going to be in April. So good on that. NASA believes there's probably 4 rocky planets that are in various stars' habitable zones. So they believe there could be other planets out there that could house life similar to us in their stars' habitable zones. Absolutely apeshit crazy that it is a thing. The vaccines, that's a good sign that children will be able to access, babies will be able to vaccine while pregnant. That's a good thing. So they won't have to be vaccinated